Hey there, fans of brotherly love wrestling. It is I, Vic Delicious.
Philly's own, the Mecca here.
It is the real McCoy, J.D.X. Justin D. Xavier. And
it's your man, CD, the fallen angel, Christopher Daniels.
Hello, boys and girls. This is your old friend RJ City.
Hey there, brotherly love wrestling. Bill Carr here.
Hey everyone, this is two-time guest Wheeler Yuta.
Two bozos from Philadelphia flapping their gums about pro wrestling this, pro wrestling that.
Which is not that unique in the grand scheme of things yet.
You are in for a treat because you're tuned in to Brotherly Love Wrestling.
Philadelphia, are you ready?
No! They said, are you ready?
This is Brotherly Love Wrestling Podcast, your first stop for everything professional wrestling. So sit back and enjoy wrestling talk at its finest with your hosts, Larry Hall and Joe Corrado.
Welcome, everybody, to Brotherly Love Wrestling. On the show this week, we have Mr. PWI 500 himself, Big Dust. Dust, welcome to the show.
Ew! How are we doing, guys? How are y'all doing today?
Doing great.
That was good. Is that that was a bird? Was that a bird call?
No. That's something we call in the business the signature maneuver right there.
So what's the finish look like?
Oh, gotta find out. I'm still, yeah, you'll find out. I'm still trying to figure that out myself, to be honest.
This was the prelude. I hope by the end of the show we come up with the finishing maneuver.
Yeah, we'll get something.
All right. So you explained to us the PWI, the PWI 500. What got you on the list? What was it? What was did you pay someone off? Did you get
no,
in?
No. Surprisingly enough, did not pay anybody off. Everybody says I did, but I got on it fair and square. And honest to God, I feel like in retrospect, it took me a while to think about it, like kind of like semi-imposter syndrome, kind of snuck into my head here and there. But I'm kind of at the point where like I did deserve it. I did a lot that year that I got in. I mean, I had an excellent feud with Eric Martin. I had a huge wedding angle that the independent like wrestling scene just does not see.
Mm-hmm.
I was in death matches with Casanova Valentine. And I mean, we'll see what happens this year with the PWI 500. But I've had a great time being 500. As a matter of fact, right behind me, right here, this is a list of every single PWI 500 that has ever been, ever since the conception of the list with old Zeus himself. And I quit.
Hold on, I want to cut you off real quick.
Nah, you good, baby.
How surreal does that feel to be in a legitimate, probably the most legitimate wrestling magazine in all the land? You're number 500, where Zeus fucking
the most based wrestler ever.
Yeah,
the most badass.
You're on that list.
I mean, we're all fans, right? It was, and I remember just when I was a fan, opening the magazine every year, looking at the 500 list, and just like seeing whoever it was, and seeing like who made it, who didn't make it, and being kind of invested. So I remember where I was exactly when I found out that I was on the list. I was at my place of work, and the Goons and I have this big group chat, and someone just texted me the page that I'm on, which has like a picture of me. Mm-hmm. It's got the picture of me that Jay Lee took from the Cassandra Cup, and it's 500 little write up. And I literally drop my phone because I could not comprehend being on it. And I'm so happy that I was on it. It's been a ride.
Well,
You got like the names that are on that have graced that list are the who's who of all of like any wrestling. Like you have WWE, WF, WCW, New Japan. You have like every fucking wrestler that ever wrestled and meant something was on that list. Was on that list.
Oh yeah, and it's my job to beat the shit out of every single one of them. And you see, I'm getting pretty close right now. Recently, we just had first one was Joe Rules, 1997, year I was born. Faced him, he won, but that doesn't matter. I still got my licks in. Shockwave the Robot coming up at ECWA Night of Strange Matches. Me and him gonna duke it out. That's gonna be fun. Recently, I just had a amazing match with Vinny Lee Glamrock at a Slam Fest in Mifflinburg, PA. Some just nothing town, but had an absolute clinic with him. And I'm not gonna stop until every single one of these guys are dead, and I am the ultimate 500, the only 500.
I'm looking over your left shoulder, and I see a name that intrigues me. And I'm 2014 Grotto. Like, I mean, I want to see that already. I want to see that match.
He's been ducking me. I tell you. He's got his fancy little cop show, but he's been ducking me. We'll see. Who knows who I'm going to face? It could be Grado. It could be Gino Martino. It could be Donnie Allen. It could even be Zeus. You never know.
Could it though? Wait, he's still alive, right?
Hey, we got ways. Trust me. I've got some hookups.
All right.
I got
or at
some
least
mages.
Maybe a reincarnation or a
Yeah.
wait, what did they do for Prince? What was that called? Hologram. What was I going to say?
Were you about to say a hieroglyphic?
That's exactly what I was going to say. That I knew that wasn't right.
That's not what that is. You got that wrong.
Maybe we can get a hieroglyphic put together of Zeus, and you can fight that. Maybe that.
Maybe. I'm looking at all my options right now with the Zeus thing because I kind of feel like looking at the list, that's going to be the most difficult one.
It's like you're going through a video game of just the final boss as Zeus.
Yeah. It's like Mortal Kombat where you just play arcade mode and you're just going up the tower until you fight Shao Kahn. Except Shao Kahn's just like a dead dude.
Yeah. Who may have had a career in acting.
He's fantastic in Friday. Love him.
Yes. Yeah. So I do want to still talk a little bit about the Goons because well, you had Killian on a while ago.
It really it wasn't a while ago, but I know it was a while ago.
It was a while ago, but
time doesn't make any sense anymore.
It doesn't.
The thing with the Goons,
time just doesn't make any sense.
With the Goons and you, I don't want to say the mouthpiece because everyone in the Goons is really good talking, but it seems like you're the
Paulie dangerously, should we call him?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's the right comparison.
It's not. I'm my own dude. I appreciate the comparison though.
I won't say no. I just mean not comparison. Like if you were to be like, who would that be? Like the head mouth, the not so much valet, but the person who it's like the glue.
That's what I was gonna say. The glue that kind of keeps the Goons together.
It's the common denominator of the Goons.
The thing that the fellas have always said is the Goons can be at a lot of places, but the constant is usually me.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually me or Killian. Like a lot of the great thing about the group is there's a fair amount of us. There's like a genuine connection there, right?
Yeah.
But if someone wants to go out and do their own thing, they definitely can. But there's just that constant state of goonness that is like Killian, myself, and now the returning Nelson Bauer. I mean, that's the three. And like Miles can jump in, A.K. Willis could jump in, Eel O'Neill can jump in, play around. Saul Esparza can jump in. It's a very interesting way the group works, and I mean, those are my best friends. I love them so much.
And
Now-
one more thing, Joe, before you go. Rob Radke. What happened? You didn't mention Rob. What happened there?
I mean, he's a bitch.
Oh man.
I mean, he thinks that he's good enough to go on his own without us. And I mean, kudos to him. Give it a go, but I don't think he could do it. I know he can't do it, and I was mad at first when he wanted to leave us, but now I'm just kind of sad for him, and I just hope the best for him, you know. And I know after all of his frustrations are let out, and he's sick of not being with his friends. His friends, by the way, y'all got to understand that his friends, he'll come on back to us, and we will welcome him in with open arms. I will personally welcome him back in, just as long as he apologizes for all of his ridiculousness for the past few months.
Did he give you a reason why?
He felt like it was holding him back. He felt like it was holding him back, and God forbid friendship holding you back. Are you joking? No, it's stupid. He's an idiot. Next question. I don't want to talk about it.
All right, gotcha. So, I mean, arguably, probably the strongest faction would you consider yourself? Let's start there. Would you consider yourself a faction?
Yes.
All right.
I would.
So, if you consider yourself a faction, arguably the strongest in all of the independents,
in all professional wrestling, absolutely.
Whoa,
now,
that's a heavy statement.
I think that there is a conversation to have on why the Goons are the best faction, or at least one of the best factions in professional wrestling, because a lot of guys just wrestle, and wrestling's fine. But personally, I think that a talent, their value can be so much greater if they can put their hands in all these other pots. And that's the best thing about the Goons. I mean, a lot of us are very skilled filmmakers, very skilled actors, incredibly skilled editors, designers, producers. Most of us have ran our own shows, and not in the way that other people run shows, but actually sitting down, pen and paper, figuring it out, being the money men. That's the best part about the Goons, is we are essentially a faction of artists as opposed to wrestlers. That's always been my mindset.
So you guys hold a lot of value in entertainers.
Absolutely. That's what I'd like to think that we're able to bring to a product when you let us in. That trust of, oh, the Goons are on the show, we can trust them to give us a good product. And honestly, with most of the places that we work frequently, you can ask them. We give a good product.
You give a very entertaining. It's not wrong to say that when you guys are on a card, any integration really, that you know you're getting something different. Something.
I appreciate that.
No, you do. And I'm not tooting horns just because you're our guest. I'm pretty sure we said this to Killian as well. It's it feels good because it feels familiar. It feels like what we were growing up with, because we didn't have the best wrestling in American wrestling. No, not the mainstream TV wrestling that I was used to. You got a lot of goofy storylines. You got a lot of character, and that's what I loved. I loved characters. Larry's the same way.
What faction is going to give you at one point a grueling series of death matches that involve like Casanova Valentine in some dude's backyard that are at one hand like extremely goofy but also extremely violent, then the next week give you a wedding with like two characters, and that culminates in something that like most people don't even see nowadays. I don't know if there's many factions that can give you that.
But also when you're actually at the show and you're not just doing the side stuff, which you guys are very good at, by the way, all the side, the promo work, all the vignettes, whatever you want to call them, very good. But when you're actually at a show and you're sitting there live, which we've been to quite a few, but most recently for Fight Pro, when you guys are there, the crowd reaction, they know exactly like what what I've always feared for a good, because you guys get booed, you want to get booed, you get booed for the most part. A lot of places you get booed. You're doing your job. My biggest fear is that you would somehow find a way to get overly cheered, but you still find a way not to do that everywhere you go. Like, and it doesn't get old because it's always different. There's always a different angle being made, and you do some of the classics. A lot of the classics. You play some classics of pure like dickheadery of a faction, if you may, but you do it differently everywhere you go, and it's. I mean, it's. I love it. Let's put it that way. I will say I love it. It's one of my favorite.
I appreciate the kind words. I really do. I really do appreciate the kind words.
And I agree with Joe because, like you said, at Fight Pro was the last place we saw you guys.
Speaking of which, hold on, let me cut.
Go ahead.
How's your neck feeling?
Neck's feeling a little bit better. A little bit better. Not sure when this is coming out. If I can say whether what happened exactly, but I got it pretty danged up by an old nemesis of mine that might be named Eric Martin. But it's healing. It's a process, you know.
Ibuprofen and ice.
Yeah, that's all I've been taking. Maybe a little too many ibuprofen, but like, hey, it numbs the pain.
I hear THC's great nowadays too. I don't know. They got nice.
Baby, trust me, I know. Ooh.
I will say this right now. I'm playing Russian roulette. I had an edible about an hour and a half ago, and I do not know what. I don't know. I could go blank. I could go really far off topic. I could be fine. We don't know. We're gonna play the game.
That's that's one of the greatest interview moments I've ever had in my goddamn life. The podcaster telling me I took an edible. It's off the rails now. It's up to fate.
As Triple H told me, it's time to play the game. And I played.
It's time to play the game, brother.
So if I go so far off topic, just turn my mic off and let me go.
Absolutely, Joe. We'll get you. You got that, Larry?
I got it.
That?
Yep. I have no problem doing that.
That's on you. He'll be talking to himself, talking to nobody. He'll find his way to have
He's
fun.
done that plenty of times. Familiar territory.
That's why I'm trying to get more people over to the visual audience, like the YouTubes and all that. Like that's what I'm trying to get bigger into that audience. So if they hear it, they're like, I got to see this idiot. And that's what I want to be. I want to be the idiot. I want to be the idiot that people see. Because I'm more of a visual presence. I talk with my hands. I go all sorts of crazy. But this isn't about me, goddammit, Larry. This show isn't about me. I'm going to let you take over.
Right. That's right, Larry. What were you going to ask before Joe rudely interrupted to talk about all the edibles he's eating?
I believe we're talking about Fight Pro and
Yes.
the season finale that we were at the taping for the season finale of Fight Pro. We won't be spoiling anything. We won't bring anything up. But to Joe's point, before the derailment, watching you guys, Killian and Miles in the ring, and then you on the outside, it is like, and I know you didn't want the comparison of Paulie Dangerously, but it is like when you're watching a bloodline, is because you're watching what's going on in the ring, you're watching the action, you're watching what the guys are doing as a tag, but you're also watching you. You're watching how you're interacting with the guys, with the other competitors.
Crowd.
With the crowd. Your voice is heard, but not enough to take attention away from what they're doing. You're that perfect supplement to go with the match
until it needs to.
Yes, yeah, of course.
Until the focus needs to shift to you. It's like it's a build within a build.
Mm-hmm.
That's always the delicate, like, tightrope that a lot of managers walk. And I've had some people come up to me for some goddamn reason and ask me like what to do, which is still so weird to me. But I tell them I can't tell people what the balance is, because I feel like everybody has their own voice. And they should know, like, okay, I'm doing too much at this moment, and maybe I should rein it back. That was something that was like instilled in me, and it's probably different for everybody. But like as a manager, or I hate that word, but because I don't consider myself a manager, I consider myself a best friend. I'm not an advocate that's overplayed. I'm not this. I always appreciate the comparisons that have been made to guys like Paul Bear and like Paul Heyman. But to me, the character to kind of give away a little bit of it all, like the mindset of mine by like my character work. Dustin Wilson is a deconstruction of a professional wrestling manager, especially a professional wrestling indie manager, where a lot of guys, they come out and they want to do the Paul E. Dangerously stuff. They want to be the Paul Heyman. They want to grab the mic and introduce him like Paul would with Brock Lesnar. And like, I can do that, but most of my guys are better talkers than me. I think I'm probably a better mic guy than like 2 people in the group. And if even like on my best day, like it's and as opposed to being the promo guy, I'm the guy who takes a bunch of stupid stuff. Like I'm the guy who takes crazy bumps, takes like choke slams and gets hit with weapons and stuff. And I think
you're the guy that people want to see get beat up though.
Exactly. And it's a lot of that. And I like my place in professional wrestling and my place in the Goons very much.
So I knew I was going to ask this question or make this comparison, and when we were first saying it, it escaped me. But now I remember what I was going to compare you to, because sitting ringside for Fight Pro, it hit me watching you when and we went to Shikara a lot before they closed up. We were there a lot. The one thing I saw in you was we were there when Stokely Hathaway was there. And he was running around the ring. And when I saw you and the way you were interacting and the way you were commanding attention when you were supposed to, that's what I compared you to, was a Stokely. Because I remember seeing Stokely at Shikara in the early days. And it was the same thing. You couldn't help but watch what Stoke did and watch him contribute to the match, but not take away from the match. But then when he had to, he had his spotlight.
He knew what he had to do. I mean, exactly. Stokely's another great example of guys who like know their place in professional wrestling and know what they're doing very well. I mean, obviously, look at the position that he's been in recently, right?
Yeah.
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a big fan, because I was also a Chikara. I was a little Chikara baby growing up. I like a lot of inspiration from guys like that. Yeah, another comparison. I very much appreciate it. Thank you. But yeah, it's guys like that that managers in today's professional wrestling need to be like.
So I had a follow up in the middle of there, so I'm going to bring it back a little bit.
Of course, yeah.
So when you were talking about walking the line, the fine line, or the tightrope, whatever you want to call it, and it was instilled in you that you had to know your limit. Now, when working with the goons, will they ever step in when they feel like you're getting at your limit? Like, will they keep you in check at all?
We're always talking to each other. So honestly, yeah, we're always like, that's the thing with working with the goons, because well, a lot of them trained me. Killian is basically my second trainer. He very much, and we keep that conversation, and I'm talking to them. It's like, it's communication, and they've definitely stepped in and been like, hey, settle down, or like, hey, get them, and I do my thing.
That's the part of like that I think is cool. Like, you work with your friends, like you're able to do that, and you're not like the ego, well, minus a minor hiccup in the goons, but the ego really stays in check with the goons. Like, everybody knows, like, I wouldn't say their place, because everyone's place is pretty much the same place. There's one goal.
I'll ignore that one comment, but continue on.
Oh, okay. I think that was pretty much the comment. But I mean, everyone pretty much has their own, like, everyone knows their spot. Everyone's spot is pretty much the same. It's just to work as a.
Yes, absolutely. Everybody. Another thing that was instilled in me as I was getting up and going places was like, know your place in wrestling. And if you know your place in wrestling, you'll go places.
So I did want to ask, were you involved, especially, I guess, the pandemic kind of era of wrestling, were you involved in a lot of the cinematic, a lot of the presentation when it comes to leapfrog and high tension? Because leapfrog into high tension, I should say. They did a lot of that more cinematic, more very, very storyline driven stuff. How involved were you in the goons when it came to stuff like that?
You had a whole show dedicated to you guys.
Yeah,
absolutely. Killian Vision.
Yes.
Still probably one of the greatest things that I've ever done. Which that whole show, not to take away any credit from anybody who had worked on that project, a lot of amazing people, and literally like some people that I appreciate so much helped with that project, but like, I had the final edit on it. So everything that you saw was like from my hands, putting everything together and placing it, including the climax with Erica Lee fighting Killian, which I still think is probably the best thing that we've ever done. I think hopefully that will change soon, but in a good way, of course. but no, I mean, Leapfrog was an amazing opportunity for me. It's essentially where I got my start. A lot of eyes were on me, and I appreciate that dearly from the high tension crew. I still work with them to this day. I still appreciate them. Killian Vision was an opportunity they gave us a ball and we said, ooh, let's throw this at the wall a million times and smoke a bunch of pot. And I think it came out an amazing product. And I mean, even before that, when we were talking about like pandemic era cinematics, I mean, the big goddamn cinematic with me and Killian defending the 1CW Bulletproof Championship. I mean, this, like, we were starved creatively, and we just had this idea of like challenging actors and making these essentially short films. And I mean, when it comes to cinematics, I've always had the mindset of we know what a professional wrestling match is. What else can it be? And it could be a lot of things. It can be an action movie. It can be a romance movie. It could be a zombie movie. It could be anything, because professional wrestling is meaningless. It's nothing. Art is nothing. It's this big ball of clay that we could just meld into whatever we want.
Now, do people get mad at you for that comment?
I don't give a shit. I would hope not, because it's not degrading to professional wrestling. I've been a fan all my life. It's just professional wrestling. If we want to look at it as an art form, we can use it as a basis to do different things with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to bend reality in professional wrestling,
Absolutely.
or in any type of entertainment, really, because I mean, even reality TV bends reality, because that shit's not our reality. That shit's a Hollywood produced reality. I mean, nothing is anything really. If you're looking at it in an entertainment factor, you're just like,
it does make excellent content, though. My goodness, I've been absolutely binging Hell's Kitchen a lot these past few days. I don't know why. It's just been popping up in my algorithm. I've just been a big fan of it.
Yeah, I've been watching Chopped with my wife.
Chopped is so good.
Dude, at Food Network, remember Man vs. Food?
Yes.
The simplest and stupidest. It was so fucking good.
Bizarre Foods. You remember that?
Yeah, that was out there.
That little weird bald dude would go out and eat sheep brains in the middle of like some Polynesian desert or something. Dude, that was the stuff.
Dude, imagine what he was on out there.
He was having a great time. Yeah, no doubt.
He's probably smoking peyote out there. He probably thought he was the pig. He probably thought he was the lamb about to eat his own brains. Dude, he was probably whacked. You would have to be.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd eat half the things that he ate. I don't know. Maybe worms. I don't know, though. I'd eat a bug.
I mean, it would depend on the bug, though, right?
Yeah, if you cook it right, if you cook anything right, it's pretty.
Are you talking
it's
about
gonna be good.
A cooked bug?
Yeah, like a cooked bug.
I mean, I'm gonna throw this out there. I could probably deep fry any bug and probably eat it. I'd put that out there.
Like does the juice like the guts and stuff spilling out? Does that upset you or anybody watching or listening?
For anyone, I mean, for them, I don't know. I can't say. I have a very strong stomach, so I don't think that would. I mean, it would probably add flavor depending on what
I remember as a kid watching The Lion King.
I knew it. I was going to say that.
Yeah, absolutely obsessed. I think I tweeted this a while ago, and I just remember those bugs that Timon and Pumbaa were absolutely snacking on, and I've always been like, I want to eat those bugs. And I had an argument with my partner, and she was like, who would want to eat those bugs? And I was like, everybody wanted to eat the bugs. Everybody did.
The blue
There's
one
no way.
The caramel looking thing that popped out of it.
Yes, it looks delicious.
They made that way too good looking.
Oh God.
It was torture. And you're a kid too. You know what it did? It made everyone think like, oh, yo, if I eat this big ass bug, it's gonna have some sort of nice gooey shit in it.
It is just nothing. Oh God.
What the hell was it? What was the show with the chocolate covered grasshoppers? And he thought he was eating like a normal candy, and then he all of a sudden bit into it wasn't Family Matters, was it?
I've got no clue, brother.
It was in that fucking realm. Larry, I'm looking at you because you should know this.
No, I am stumped. No way.
Larry got no clue.
You have to Google this.
He's no fucking help. All right, we'll wait for after the show for that one. We didn't derail enough. I told you, food gets brought up, and I'm going.
That's it.
It's all good.
So we were talking before the show. Hold on, Larry.
Go ahead.
I'm not talking.
Go ahead.
So say you get like the medium bag of chips. Say you go to like Wawa. You're East Coast, right? You know what Wawa is.
Yes, yeah, of course. I love Wawa.
So the medium, like say you do like a cold Cool Ranch Dorito or whatever you prefer. And
Okay.
it's kind of like the amount of where you feel bad if you eat the whole bag because it is a pretty big bag and they usually feel pretty good. But what I usually do is I'm a quarter left of the bag. I've eaten this much so far. I'm like, I have to finish at this point. Like it's pointless to put away like if someone finds that quarter eaten bag of chips, they're like, thanks for leaving me fucking nothing. Or like, seriously,
it's fucked up.
You couldn't just finish these. So now in
It's not proper etiquette.
Yeah, exactly. You're raised right in this. If you're gonna do damage on some chips, you got to finish the whole thing.
Absolutely.
You can't leave the remainders of the mashed potatoes.
Are you a proponent of like making a little walking taco, like cooking up some ground beef and stuff, and like putting some seasoning in it, lettuce, tomato, chop that sucker up, put that in there? You ever done that?
The Frito bag. The medium-sized Frito bag is the perfect one.
It's the best.
Yeah.
It's the best. I remember one day getting absolutely, I don't want to say I got hammered on the podcast, but I was getting smoked. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm really hungry. And I the situation of I had like these bags of chips that were like almost like a quarter done. And I was like ground turkey, cheese, tomato, some lettuce, bam, all right in there. And I was eating good.
Yeah. So what did we do, Larry? After what was it, Cammy's wedding? We made the bright idea of going to Redner's, the food store, and we were all blitzed.
And we wanted to make pork roll and cheese sandwiches is what I believe. I think we were doing like pork roll and cheese, grilled cheeses or something.
Grilled cheese sandwich.
Oh, that sounds very good.
We got like 3 or 4 pounds of pork roll, a bunch of cheese, a bunch of bread. We didn't. So normally, had I not been in that shape, I would have probably went fancy with the bread and tried to go like I probably would have done like a Kaiser roll. I would have done like a ciabatta or some crazy shit, like a thick sourdough.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we just went plain sandwiches, but you get to the point of where you're like, I love getting to that point where like, what can I eat like that I haven't had either ever or before? Like I used to do like a Monte Cristo. It was like turkey with fucking jelly in the middle of it with like you make like French toast out of the bread and it's like the perfect and you dip it in.
And then do you like make like a bechamel and like drizzle it all over?
Nah, it's just like a maple syrup.
Do you know what a bechamel is? Do you know what a bechamel is?
You got so close to the fucking the camera. I need to know now.
It's cheese sauce. It's a cheese sauce.
Is it like a white cheese?
No. It doesn't matter like what cheese you put in there, but you basically make like a little gravy. You put some flour in the milk. And then as you keep stirring, it develops like this thick sauce. So you can put some cheese in there. And then people make like a Monte Cristo. And then they pour it over it. And I believe it becomes a croque monsieur. Some like weird French name it becomes. And that it's very delicious. Very delicious. Very like, unhealthy.
You do like butter and then butter, flour, and maybe even like some like heavy cream, and then add
just
cheese
like
to
that.
It. Yeah,
just like that. Yeah,
I've seen a bunch of TikToks of recipes because my algorithm.
I hate food. Oh my god, it makes me so mad because they be doing the most wild stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Me and other goons, Saul Esparza, just complain about it like all the time because it's like just make it simple. Just like you're overcomplicating so much stuff.
Yes.
Like when they make the little potatoes and they cut them up diagonally, flip them, and then they cut it up the other way. I'm like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that.
It's all to make it visually, I don't know, pleasing for.
Yeah, it does look good, right? Mm-hmm. Like undoubtedly, but like I don't know. I'll always just be thinking about the bugs from Lion King. And actually on it first.
I like that way to bring it back. I like it.
I'm good at this. At least I try.
All right, Larry, that was our segue to change topic, I think.
Okay.
Yes, Larry. What was it that you were trying to ask?
All right, so since you brought it back to the Lion King, I'm going to stick with the movie genre.
Yeah.
So you're into cinematics, obviously. You love doing a lot of the videos and stuff. If you were to take a feud, any feud from the wrestling history that you're a fan of, and you were given this feud, and they said, "Here, we want you to take this feud, these two wrestlers, and give us a cinematic match." What is the feud we're looking at that you're making a cinematic match out of?
Oh, that's a crazy question. That's a ridiculous question. I usually don't like questions like that too much. Not saying that yours is bad. I just always like, you know me, I like wrestling isn't always what I like to talk about.
Yes.
But like when I think like a cinematic match being like a big feud ender, I mean, like, the issue is like all the characters on the like that wrestling has brought out that should have done cinematics have already done them, right? Like to me, you started with the final deletion. Nothing like was like it. It was groundbreaking. It was beautiful in so many ways, and it was so interesting. And then, like, of course, the WWE comes along and they just like boost it up to 11 and make it something ridiculous with like the Boneyard match and what I think is probably the best cinematic match of all time, the Firefly Funhouse match with Cena and Wyatt.
Yes.
I mean, like that match is so cool in so many ways. If I was to like, no, I completely agree. I think the Boneyard match is obviously like badass in so many ways, right?
Yeah.
I've been rewatching Raw from my childhood, and recently what happened in it was the Stone Cold and Booker T fight in the grocery aisle, which made me think that like put Stone Cold against anybody in a cinematic and just let them like create and have fun. I think you could do so much cool shit with that. Like maybe do it with the amazing Stone Cold and Triple H feud that happened. Like do something like that. Or maybe even like Eddie and Ray, the Dominic stuff, make that a cinematic match. That I'm sure like any people that are like two highly creative, highly interesting talents going at it like that, I'd be big in for.
Yeah, like a blood feud.
Yeah, exactly.
That's perfect for a cinematic. Someone who like has gotten to the point, a boiling point, and they're like, all right, here we go. The Triple H Austin one was interesting that you said, because Triple H does not get enough credit for his comedy, I don't think.
Oh, it's hysterical. Yeah.
Yeah, when you think of him in DX, obviously comedy was there, but when he's by himself, like his facial expressions and his all around work, he could do anything. Like he could literally do anything.
I mean, yeah. He's one of the greatest of all time. I mean, his timing and everything. I remember watching him as a kid and just being mesmerized every moment.
Now, was that something that you aspired to, being a Renaissance man of professional wrestling, like being able to basically do anything that is asked of you and to be able to do it?
This isn't a bad thing per se, but I almost feel like I'm forced to be in that position if I want to be in wrestling. Because I mean, when I first started, I was training to like be a wrestler, and then both of my ACLs were torn.
Ooh.
And I remember having a conversation with every single one of the fellas who were there just about, and they were like, hey, it's okay to just be a manager. And then from then on, I was like, okay, well, I got to find other things that I can do besides managing. And like, I love managing, but recently I think some of my best work has been doing commentary. I've been doing commentary for Flying V Fights over in Maryland amazing company. Watch it on IWTV, and same with Pro Wrestling Vibe, an amazing company. And I did some really good work over there with commentary. So I pride myself on trying to be a man that can wear many hats.
And so far it has worked out in your advantage, I would say. And so, Mr. 500, now what happens to you if, say, you do have a better, when the year ends, you do end up having a better year? You've got to now expect a higher spot, correct?
I'll talk about it on here. I don't want a higher spot. I want 500 again. And I'm doing my best to be 500 again.
According to your list, has that ever happened?
It has not happened a single time. Not one person in the history of the list that has several former world champions has been number 500 2 times in a row. And I think I'm either not on the list or I make history. We'll see.
Now, does this become, instead of a 2-year goal, a career goal to go as many 500s as possible?
Oh, God, no. If I get it again, I'm quitting. Are you kidding me? I'm so sick of this shit.
So you were
no. Of course, like we'll see where my head's at, but that's very much where my mindset's at right
Would
now.
it be more impressive to be the permanent 500 though? What if you look back in the history books and all of a sudden from the year 2022 onward, we just saw you at number 500 for 20 years?
I mean, if I don't get it, I'm just gonna burn the building down. I know where it is.
That's also a plan.
Well, I mean, look, you'd be like Bernie Mac. You'd be Mr. 500 instead of Mr. 3000.
Exactly.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
King of comedy.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with Bernie Mac. I
Yeah,
like
I
Bernie
mean,
Mac.
if you were to take
How's he
any-
doing?
He's dead.
Yeah,
He
he's with
is?
Zeus. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Oh, okay.
yeah, he's been there for a while. But
That's horrible.
we're not.
Why'd you make that joke, Joe? What's wrong with you?
I don't know if I did. I don't know if it was supposed to be a joke, but if it landed with someone, then my job is done. I will leave them laughing. Then it's my job.
So I'm going to wrap up with one last thing, and more currently. Last week on Fight Pro, we had a protest going on, a peaceful protest going on, and we had the Goons protesting because, of course, they wanted to be in the tag division. So right now, actually, on IWTV, we're kind of doing a disservice to Fight Pro as we're recording. We're not watching, but we get to find out what the next step is with the Goons and what's going on.
The fellas are in a little bit of a predicament. Old Bart doesn't want to play ball just because Prince Nana was out. And I'll tell you this, we have a match. We have an opportunity to be in the tag division, Miles and Killian, as long as we can defeat the Tonys.
Okay.
And next week on Fight Pro, IWTV, we will beat the living shit out of the Tonys. No doubt in my mind.
The
And
Tonys,
that's not a spoiler. That's a promise.
Absolutely.
the Tonys are pretty formidable. I mean, they're pretty good.
They
team.
don't know each other like Miles and Killian.
True.
They're not friends.
True.
It is a tall and a short task.
Absolutely. One's like
to try and
4'3",
defeat
the
the
other's
penalty.
like 8'5".
I
One
know.
carries around a little drink to the ring. How professional is that?
Yeah.
My goodness.
All
No,
right.
it's going to be a wonderful show. Everybody should watch Fight Pro on IWTV. They're putting out some really well-produced content, and I think some of the things that are coming up with the Goons are some of the most entertaining stuff that we've made in a while. It's been a very interesting relationship with the company. Us being, as I said in the beginning of the broadcast, artists, and them wanting like grapplers or some bullshit like that. It's been fun. Please stay tuned for what will happen next.
All right. I'm gonna ruin this, and that is a good thing to end on, but I do want to end on one more.
Okay. Let's hear it.
I want you to finish
This better
sentence.
be good, Joe. This better be good.
We ended perfectly. I mean, you better stack up.
It will be. I want you to finish this sentence. The fact that Killian McMurphy isn't on your network television is
a goddamn shame.
I agree wholeheartedly.
It's a goddamn shame. Killian
Prove it.
McMurphy is one of the greatest professional wrestlers I have
Sports
ever
entertainers.
seen of all time. He is an asset to every card that he is a part of, and I love him dearly.
Did that work for you?
All right. That's acceptable.
Is that a good enough question?
It was good. All right. So, Dust,
I'm done.
Thank you. Dust, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. It was good talking to you. And hopefully we will be seeing you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Should I get to plug anything? Am I
Absolutely.
plugging?
Yeah, you want to plug
Let
something? Go right
me
ahead.
plug real quick.
Absolutely.
You can follow me on my socials, Twitter and Instagram on big_dust_. I'm working on making a Threads account right now just because Twitter's going to shit. Also, big thing, youtube.com, Birds on Film, me and Erica Lee's film review series. Please, if you're a fan of any type of film review content, please give that a watch. We're putting out some excellent stuff. By the time this goes out, I believe we will have released the part 1 to our 2-part series retrospective on the Barbie movies in anticipation for the 2023 release of Barbie. We're watching the best Barbie movie and the worst Barbie movie from the VHS era, Princess and the Pauper and Fairytopia. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We have a lot of other content coming out soon, a lot of non-wrestling stuff that will be very interesting. And as well, the list, not being 500, continues. The one match that is announced right now, wink, wink, is Shockwave the Robot versus Big Dustin Wilson at ECWA's Night of Strange Matches. It will be an excellent show. I'm going to beat the living shit out of a robot. We're going to have some fun. And thank you two so much for having me on. It's been an absolute blast. It's been a pleasure.
All right, Dust. Thanks again, and have a good night.
Absolutely.